Welcome to another episode of Hidden Gems. Today we have two special guests, Longzai and Pinecone from the DFK team. Please introduce yourselves and let's get started.
Cool. So I'm Pinecone. I am the lead API developer in Kingdom Studios, making the game DeFi Kingdoms. I can present the game a little bit later, but Longzai, go ahead.
Hello everyone, I'm excited to be here as well and share my passion for Web3 gaming. So I'm a former Web2 full stack developer. So last year I began my journey into this Web3, the rabbit hole. So as a lover of games, I believe blockchain games are especially cool because they provide fairness and transparency. Last year, me and Pinecone, we completed the Covalent bootcamp, which was a very amazing experience. Huge shout out to Luke and Brendan as they are awesome tutor and provide great support throughout our journey. Currently, I'm using Increment, a tools provided by Covalent to provide data insights about DeFi Kingdoms to the community. So it's been a great way to explore the potential of DeFi Kingdoms and how it can make gaming more fun and fair for everyone.
Incredible. So we'll have a whole segment on Increment further down the pod, but let's actually get started on some history here. What actually was the impetus to start DeFi Kingdoms? Why start a Web3 game? And you guys obviously are very, very passionate. I met some of the team in Barcelona last year, so you guys are like totally into this stuff. So why start a blockchain game? What were the motivations?
So the start was with the DeFi summer. Frisky Fox, our founder, he realized that the tokens like Sushi token and Uni token and tokens like that didn't really have a lot of utility. He was thinking about how can I make DEX with a token that has utility. And he loved gaming. And a lot of the other founders also love this sort of like RPG, pixel art, fantasy setting. So they found out that if they make a DEX and the token can be used inside the game, that's a good use case. As well as the onboarding part for DeFi, because like when you tell your mother or your brother or whoever about DeFi and how you can stake at the DEX and then you provide liquidity and then you swap, it's not really straightforward. That's one of the first purposes of the game, was to gamify the actual usage of a DeFi product. So it will lower the barrier for entry for more people. Right now, we think about DeFi Kingdoms as a fantasy RPG simulator, where you lead your heroes through quests to gather materials for crafting. There's 16 genes per hero, and each of these genes has 4 types, so you can get mutations to get better heroes. The hero class can mutate, so you have like, here you see one size showing some of the genes. A while ago, we released a pre-alpha preview of the combat systems that we're making, along with the esports game studio called Wisdom Gaming. We think about it as a combined resource management and exploration and combat with custom piles. We're focusing on PvP right now, and then we're transforming that PvP part into a PvP game. And as we introduce travel and more resource management, you can transport resources that you perhaps mine in one land to another land that has a better forge. Then you can craft swords and stuff like that.
You have evolved your tech stack over the last couple of years. How much of this is on-chain game logic? How much of it is off-chain game logic? How do you keep all of these things in sync? And DFK itself has moved across multiple blockchains. So, you've moved on from Harmony. I think there was at some point you were deployed on Klaytn, and I believe there was a subnet as well in there. So what was that journey along? So love to talk about just pure tech on how all these pieces fit together.
Most of the game is actually on-chain right now. We have duels, a simpler form of PvP. That's actually starting season 4 next week. For the more advanced PvP part, we're gonna do off-chain processing, but the results and the heroes used will be from the chain. And it was the vision of the founders from the start of that we wanted to be a multi-chain game. So we started out on Harmony and got to be the biggest DEX, biggest project on Harmony pretty quickly. And then we expanded to a subnet on Avalanche, where we met in Barcelona last year on the Avalanche Summit. So the bridging is done together with a third party that's called Synapse. The API. So when we launched multi-chain, I'm pretty confident that our game and our API was the first API to be totally multi-chain seamlessly. So you bridge your hero, and the API does, like for the front end that's querying the API, it doesn't matter where the hero is. So this is something we're pretty proud of, to be that early with this functionality. And then we moved, so the Harmony hack and Harmony kind of collapsed, so we were very glad we were already multi-chain. And then we expanded to Klaytn. We moved the realm from Harmony to Klaytn.
Why pick Avalanche or Klaytn? What was the reason of picking those particular chains as opposed to something like Polygon or something like an optimistic rollup?
Yeah, so I wasn't that much part of those discussions, so I think I shouldn't talk too much about that. But I want to say that the subnet on Avalanche has worked very well, and the support from Ava Labs is tremendous. They're always on edge to keep us up and running, even if they have troubles on their own. And they're really supporting us greatly. And Klaytn, so when we moved to Klaytn, they have a 1 second finality, which we kind of liked, and also a great Asian population. But we discovered that the 1 second finality wasn't really nice to our smart contracts. So then they helped us convert, and we did a lot of optimizing on the contracts, and they're gonna tune their network somewhat to facilitate more transactions or bigger transactions from our side.
Okay, so let's now jump into the gameplay, which is what you guys promised earlier in this call.
DFK is running on its own Avalanche subnet. So when a new player starting the game, so what they will do is they will get the link into your browsers, install MetaMask. So where you can bridge AVAX if you have AVAX. So if not, then you can actually purchase the AVAX using fiat through our partners RAM network.
We're working on getting on-ramps directly into DFK chain as well as Klaytn directly.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's probably something I leaked a little bit of alpha.
That will simply help new players to onboard to DFK. So since DFK has a partnership with Snaps as well, so we can actually reach other assets other than Avalanche, such as Ethereum, Bitcoin, and other assets. So after that, when you are good to go, then you can just click the travel to cJEWEL, and it's just a matter of setting your RPCs to the correct network. Once you switch to that network, you will be greeted. This is the map of the crystal whale. As it's called, the NFT, so we call it Heroes. So like Pinecone mentioned earlier, so it's trying to make RPG games using this NFT. You can actually then what excites the most is because of the NFT utilities. So you should, besides trading them, you can actually crash them to increase the levels. You can summon them, and there are tons of things you can do with the NFT. On the right corner side here, the top right here, there's actually a quick select menu that shows all the stuff that you can play with. In the Alchemist, you can actually do potion crafting. In the castle, you can actually explore some partnership between DFK and third parties, where some of them they do games, and some of them they do some useful third-party apps. So there are tons of partnership here. You can find that here. Besides that, you can head over to the gardens, where you can provide liquidity for liquidity farming. And at Jeweler, you can actually stake your jewel, which is the governance token of DeFi Kingdoms, for some power ups, and there's a yield for this governance token as well. So
and this is part of the gamified DeFi experience that I mentioned early on.
Last but not least, you can actually, there's a built index where situated in the marketplace where you can trade items and token as well. So these are just the features that we have now, but it's constantly improving every single day. This is what I am passionate of DeFi Kingdoms, because during this bear market, they actually delivers all these features non-stop. So kudos to the DeFi Kingdom teams as well. Actually, that's demo the combat testing straight away. You can actually battle your heroes with others. So right now we are still in the alpha testing phase. So lots of development going on as we speak. We have like 15 classes right now. So every class has its own abilities. Things get a bit complicated, and it's actually getting excited as well. So let's head to the battle now. And right now, this is just a testing phase. So we'll be fighting some cute blocks. Right now, our archer has the first move advantage. So we just demo some attack from archer.
And this is going on off-chain. And then when he wins the game or loses the game, the stats are written back to the blockchain. And also like the heroes are picked up from the blockchain or via the API, of course, for starting the battle.
Yes, correct. So the core things are recorded on chain and all the actions are off chain. So it will be seamless for the player as well.
Very cool. The game between the two blockchains, let's say Klaytn and the subnet on Avalanche, is it one universe or is it segmented where you have to close off one and then transport your assets and your player stats to the other?
You have to bridge your heroes if they want to travel. So that's actually traveling between the realms. But so game-wise, it's one universe. The heroes exist in both, but they can only be present on one universe. So it's the same NFT, you just have to bridge them back and forth. I think Langsai has prepared a summon as well. And we actually bought that stone in Crystal Vale, but it's going to summon it in Sarandale. And then it's just bridged over by layer 0 bridge.
Yes, because beforehand, my heroes are at Crystal Vale. So I just reached them earlier. So the process is pretty easy. So let's bridge, just do an example. So you just approve a transaction on the MetaMask, then your NFT, the heroes will be just moved across the realms. We can actually show how fast is the bridge, the hero will reach to the other realms as well. If no, then.
And this is using layer 0, not Synapse as your bridge.
But now the heroes and the pets are going by Synapse, and the rest is going by layer 0. Which
Got it.
Yeah.
And what kind of bridging mechanism is this? Like if you bridge it across, you get a wrapped hero, or what do you get on the other side? Or the actual asset?
It gets minted. So it's a proper NFT.
Okay. So in order to travel realms, it's pretty easy because it's just a matter of switching your network. So let's head over to the Klaytn. So when I head to the heroes, this is my NFT. The purple ones are just the hero that I just bridged.
Okay, so now he's gonna do a summon. And to improve the result of the summon, he's gonna use a stone. And this is something I wanna get back to, how we implemented the tracking of stones using Increment in just a moment. So now he selects the heroes with the genes he wants to use. And now he selected the stone, waiting for a few seconds to open the Simon crystal. And now it's exciting if you get a good hero. And in the background here, you see he's doing transactions to open the crystal. And So the purpose of the stone he used is to boost the stats of, I think it was strength, a might stone, and he got the paladin there. That's nice. So that's an example of a mutation.
Yes.
Okay, so now you guys have been huge fans of Increment. You guys were participants in the Data Alchemist Bootcamp last year, and that's how you got indoctrinated into the approach that Increment has. And let's see what you guys have built, how you get deriving value from this tool. And I think we as a team at Covalent learn a lot from the use cases and how customers and partners push these products, because at the end of the day, we only provide the tooling, and the imagination is left to guys like you to explore the new territory. So let's see what how you guys are using Increment.
This is the dashboard that I made using Covalent Increment. So we are able to host the dashboard on website with the embedded features. So let's say if I am interested in hero data, so I'm able to see, let's say, for example, the hero summoning. So we are able to see, hey, the hero summoning has picked up over the past few days. So this might be due to the token price, because previously it was cheaper to summon on surrender. So if we are
this is cJEWEL we're looking at now, just to make
yes, this is the cJEWEL DFK chain. Yes, correct. If we are interested in hero sales, so we can actually see, you can easily pull out the data as well. So with Covalent index all the data for us, the possibilities are endless. We don't have to deal with the hassle of gathering all the data. We just need to. So this is the Increment interface. So what we need to do is we just need to explore the tables and find out the data that we want and do some SQL on it. So for example, this is the SQL to show the active addresses. So it's pretty easy because all the requires aggregation is stated here. So it's pretty straightforward. So let's say we just select the dates and all the unique senders as active addresses, and we do a where statement where it's on DFK chain. There you go. It's pretty easy. We just have to learn the SQL, and with the help of ChatGPT, it will make our life even more easier. Yeah.
And this is one of the really good strengths for my use case. It's a little bit different. We had a new feature in the fall of last year where we wanted to provide in the NFT view which stones and what attributes were boosted when a hero was summoned, or if it was leveled up. You can use crystals when you level up. But we didn't have that data in our database at that stage. What we have done is store every relevant transaction in NoSQL database, but to extract the data that we hadn't anticipated we needed back in time, we would have to process all those transactions. I wrote this SQL statement that you see here, and this is for the Klaytn chain, the DFK chain, and this is for Harmony. And I just pull out the needed data, so we can see, like, in data field 5, we have the number of tiers used. So that's a resource for summoning, used by one of the summoners, and then the assistant summoners used this many tiers. And the stone is this address that we're extracting from data field 7. And then you can export it, and it's like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of rows that I just imported right into our database, and we were done. And that takes like maybe 1 day of work, as opposed to processing all those transactions anew. So if I were to make the API anew, and I was sure Covalent was on all the chains we were gonna visit, I would totally consider ditching our NoSQL database and just relying on Increment. With the powerful query interface, I can extract every data I need in just like half an hour, instead of having to store all these transactions myself.
So what is the next unlock here is that this cJEWEL, you can now save it as a new Class C endpoint. That's the feature we're building next. So you even skip that step where you store it into your regular database and then you use any kind of application. You can literally create an API, so you don't have to export it. And you can have all kinds of liquid templates there. So you can have incremental, you can have time ranges, you can have filters. So you can build a full data application, which is just on the front end. So focus on just the presentation layer. So that's the next unlock. Yeah, we're working.
That's really exciting.
That. What is if you were to say like the top 2 features that you really like about Increment, what are those?
Well, it's, as I said, the speed of prototyping things. So you have like a SQL interface to the blockchain, and that's incredibly powerful. You can do all the SQL statements that you're used to, well, more or less, and you can just extract the data you need in seconds. And that's, I think that's my #1 favorite thing with Increment at this stage.
For me, is the amount of blockchains that Covalent index. It's not just DFK. It's I remember it's something like 80 chains. So if
100, it's 100.
Oh, it's actually 100. So
yeah, we crossed 100.
That is a huge milestone, I would say. So imagine that someone who wants to know about arbitrums, let's say arbitrums, how much how is the movement of the tokens or any alpha that you can think of. Covalent, you can get all this data on your fingertips with Covalent. So we don't have to, and the best part is we can actually do cross-chain. So we can compare, like I want to compare the gas fees between Ethereum and Arbitrum, for example. You can do that. Everything is so simple. That is why that's the Covalent, the first thing that I love for Covalent.
Incredible. What are you using to track your player metrics, like the number of active players, the number of like your retention curves, how much revenue you're making per player, campaigns that what items are sold? Like you showed me a hero dashboard, but are you tracking player stats to that granularity?
We're doing it in our end. We're prototyping a lot of things in Covalent, and we have some systems that we have in-house, and some reports that go straight from Increment and into the decision-making process. But I can't show you those right now, unfortunately.
No, of course, it might. Well, I wouldn't say it's like really proprietary stuff because the data's on the blockchain. So yeah.
Okay. Well, but I guess alongside you have more advanced graphs as well, I think.
The one graph that I can share with you guys is the cJEWEL. So it's our governance token where people can lock it for certain periods, and the yield will be greater. So this is the dashboard of cJEWEL. So you can actually see all the movement, the APR, the info, the net flow, and how long the players lock for this cJEWEL. This is a public URL. So I hosted the site on using GitHub. So I can actually use the embedded functions of Increment to actually push it to public, so everyone actually can access the URL and see it.
Incredible. So we have one change that is yet to be pushed. So you see those tabs on the left side, the pets and all those things. So that takes up space. So what we're actually moving to is moving them as tabs on the top so that there's more area used for the charts. But it's cool that you're using these boards. That's exactly what it's meant for, because it's very limiting to create multiple dashboards. You should just be able to flip through them like a flip book, which is awesome to see. And this cJEWEL is what is this? This is like a LP token?
Or no, it's like the V token of Curve. So it's it's a little bit more advanced governance token where you have to stake jewel for a time and an amount, and depending on the combination of time and amount, you get an amount of cJEWEL. And then percentage of the DEX fees and other fees in game gets distributed to the cJEWEL contract. So when you withdraw or you can withdraw your APR or your revenue whenever you want, and as long as you hold the cJEWEL, you can vote in governance. This helps limit earlier we had cJEWEL, which was a regular governance token, but that meant that the whales could just buy up a huge amount of cJEWEL and vote for whatever they wanted and then sell them right after. That's not this behavior that's very good for the ecosystem. So that's why we progressed to use cJEWEL for Crystal Whale and cJEWEL in Serendet.
Awesome. So, well, thank you so much for your time. This is incredible, short session, but, keep it to the point and deliver a lot of value to our listeners and viewers. Thank you once again for being part of the Hidden Gems podcast.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Bye.
having me. Thank you.